Imagine biting into a meal so revolting, so unimaginable, that it would make your stomach turn instantly. Now imagine that eating this disgusting feast wasn't a choice, but a matter of life or death. Ancient humans faced starvation every single day, and to survive, they had to eat things that would horrify us today. From rotten meat crawling with maggots to crunchy insects, their desperate diets tell a story of survival on the edge. What did they eat, and why? Get ready to discover the grossest meals in human history that helped our ancestors survive against all odds. Picture a barren, windswept plain beneath a cold, colorless sky. Your stomach gnaws with hunger, and the only sounds are the distant calls of animals and the howling wind. For ancient humans, life was a relentless struggle against starvation. There were no stores, no guaranteed meals, just an endless hunt for anything edible. Food scarcity was not an inconvenience. It defined existence. Famine could strike any time, triggered by failing rains, cold snaps, or the sudden disappearance of game herds. Hunger quickly stripped away preferences. When calories were scarce, the line between food and filth blurred. Early humans learned to eat whatever they could find, regardless of how disgusting it might seem to us now. The need to survive overruled any modern notions of taste or hygiene. In this harsh world, eating meant improvising, gnawing on raw bones, sampling bitter roots, or risking illness with meat found half-rotted. These weren't choices. They were instructions from the body's most basic survival code. Scarcity did more than drive desperate diets, it forced innovation. Archaeological evidence shows humans scavenging animal corpses left by predators, breaking open bones for nutrient-rich marrow, and consuming nearly every part of a kill well before the advent of controlled fire. If they didn't, they simply didn't live long enough to pass on their genes. This necessity fashioned humans into both creative foragers and bold risk-takers, blending invention and adaptation in the rawest form imaginable. The constant threat of hunger shaped not only what early humans ate, but also how they lived together. Every social structure, from tiny family bands to loose tribes, revolved around the quest for food. The strongest or luckiest hunters often ate first. Leftovers, the marrow from bones, chewy tendons, gristly skin, became fair game for others. When famine was at its worst, choices grew even more desperate. Evidence suggests that in rare, catastrophic times, some communities may have resorted to eating whatever was available, including bulbous roots, shellfish, insects, and even animal dung in search of undigested seeds. Modern researchers have found ancient tools caked in residues of starchy plants, and evidence of bones cracked open for every last drop of fat. Yet, this grim scramble had a silver lining. It forged resilience and solidarity. Every member's survival depended on the group's resourcefulness. Food sharing wasn't just generosity, it was a life-saving insurance policy. Rituals emerged, marking who could eat what and when, helping minimize conflict over scraps. This collaborative spirit, shaped by relentless hunger, became one of the building blocks of human society itself. Living with unending hunger took an emotional toll on ancient humans. Anxiety hovered over every meal. Would the hunt succeed? Would the raid on a wasp nest yield enough larvae for everyone? Would tiny seeds and bitter leaves be enough to see the tribe through another hungry season? True ingenuity thrived under this pressure. Some groups learned to process unpalatable foods, roasting bitter roots to break down toxins, fermenting leftovers, and mixing clay or dirt with seeds to lessen hunger pangs. These methods were risky, but in the face of starvation, experimentation was essential. Over centuries, practical knowledge about what could be consumed and how built up into an oral survival library, passed from generation to generation. Even today, echoes of those extreme strategies survive. Many indigenous and traditional societies around the world still use resourceful methods to tap every available calorie. From fermenting fish to roasting insects. Every recipe, no matter how bizarre, has roots in that ancient struggle for survival. A time when gross meals weren't revolting, they were the reason our species survived at all. Imagine feasting on meat so rotten it smells like death itself, yet provides precious calories in a desperate prehistoric world. Ancient humans didn't have the luxury of refrigeration or hygiene. Instead, they frequently consumed decomposing carcasses scavenged from kills abandoned by predators. While modern noses recoil at putrid flesh, evidence shows early humans and even Neanderthals relished these meals, often eating meat riddled with maggots as an added source of protein and fat. Anthropologists contend that putrefaction actually predigested tough animal tissue, breaking it down chemically and softening it, making nutrients more accessible. This early form of fermentation was a lifesaver during times when fresh meat was scarce. Indigenous groups from Arctic tundras to tropical rainforests have long eaten rotten meat or fish, either raw or lightly cooked, and suffered no ill effects likely. Due to a gut microbiome adapted to handle these dangerous foods, one historical account tells of explorers shocked as hunter-gatherers gleefully consumed a bloated, decomposing rodent, calling it excellent eating. This willingness to eat what other animals avoid was key to survival and evolved into a dietary strategy strikingly different from most modern humans' habits. When game was scarce or too difficult to hunt, ancient people turned to the often overlooked but highly nutritious protein sources crawling beneath their feet, insects and larvae. From beetles and ants to fly larvae wriggling in rotting meat. These critters provided a reliable and calorie-dense fallback food. While the idea of eating bugs may cause squeamishness today, for prehistoric humans, insects were essential survival foods. Many cultures worldwide still embrace insect eating, recognizing their nutritional value. Archaeological sites show remains of beetles and other insects alongside human tools, and modern ethnographic studies affirm their importance. Insects were often eaten raw, roasted, or mixed with other foods. In some cases, maggots were intentionally cultivated by allowing meat to rot slightly, a strategy that sounds revolting but improved digestibility and nutrient absorption. Though insects might seem disgusting to modern sensibilities, they represent one of humanity's oldest and most sustainable food sources. Survival on the ancient menu didn't stop at rotten meat and bugs. Early humans also ingested materials that defy our concept of food, partially digested vegetation found in the stomachs or guts of herbivores, certain types of dirt or clay mixed with food to neutralize toxins, and even animals rarely considered edible. Research suggests that during Ice Age winters, when fruits and vegetables were scarce, prehistoric humans ate the digesta, the semi-digested grass and leaves inside the stomachs of prey animals like bison or reindeer. This practice added crucial carbohydrates to their diets when plant availability was minimal. Additionally, eating clay or dirt isn't as strange as it sounds. Some indigenous groups still practice geophagy, ingesting specific earth types to absorb toxins from bitter plant foods or to supplement minerals lacking in their diet. Early humans likely used similar strategies to expand their food options during harsh times. Other bizarre ancient delicacies include fermented fish, blood, animal brains, and animal fat, all sometimes eaten raw or lightly cooked. These foods, while revolting by modern standards, were rich in nutrients and helped our ancestors survive brutal climates and famine. The grossest meals our ancestors ate didn't just keep them alive, they helped shape what it means to be human. As ancient humans expanded their food choices from tough plants to energy-rich meat and marrow, they unlocked a new level of biological and cognitive evolution. Around 2.5 million years ago, hominins began incorporating more animal products into their diets, setting off a chain reaction that boosted brain size and physical endurance. This dietary shift mattered because meat and Marrow provided concentrated calories far beyond the fibrous plants early humans had relied on. As researchers explain, the introduction of calorie-dense food reduced the volume of bulky, low-quality plant matter in their guts. This allowed the digestive system to shrink, freeing up energy for bigger brains, a key evolutionary advantage. Homo erectus, for example, displayed these adaptations around 1.8 million years ago: larger body and brain size, more complex tool use, and the control of fire for cooking, all linked to improved nutrition. Eating such challenging and risky foods, rotting meat, insects, roots, and toxic plants, demanded flexibility, intelligence, and cultural innovation. It accelerated human migration across diverse environments by helping our ancestors adapt to new habitats and seasonal scarcities. Ultimately, these survival diets laid the groundwork for the human species' extraordinary success. As humans evolved, so did their relationship with food. The ability to control fire dating back at least 1 million years revolutionized ancient diets and made those gross survival meals more palatable and safer to eat. Cooking helped break down tough fibers in plants, killed harmful bacteria in raw meat, and unlocked flavors that raw foods couldn't offer. Suddenly, the stomach-churning meals of the past could be transformed into something edible, even enjoyable. But cooking was about more than just survival. It shaped human culture. The campfire became a social hub where stories were shared, relationships were forged, and food became a symbol of community and identity. Early humans developed preferences, taboos, and rituals around what was acceptable to eat and how it should be prepared, marking the beginnings of culinary culture. For example, some dangerous but nutritious foods, like certain tubers or bitter seeds, required careful preparation to neutralize toxins, fostering knowledge transfer and cooperation. Interestingly, the legacy of those primal food choices still lingers today. Many traditional cuisines around the world include ingredients and preparation methods rooted in survival necessities: fermented fish in Scandinavia, insect snacks in Africa and Asia, or root-based dishes indigenous peoples perfected to extract every bit of nutrition. These culinary echoes remind us that our ancestors' gross meals were also building blocks for human innovation and cultural diversity. Even though we live in a world of supermarkets and endless food choices, the shadow of those ancient gross meals lingers in surprising ways. Our bodies, gut microbiomes, and even food preferences still carry traces of those desperate survival strategies. For example, humans retain enzymes to digest certain tough plants and toxins, adaptations from when such foods were crucial for survival during famine or seasonal shortages. Many modern superfoods, like insects and fermented foods, are making a comeback, embraced for their sustainability and nutrition. Proof that ancient peoples' gross survival meals were not just necessary, but surprisingly wise in hindsight. Researchers studying traditional societies remind us that eating outside the modern comfort zone was once the norm and remains vital knowledge if humanity faces future food crises. Moreover, the psychological aspect of disgust around certain foods is learned rather than innate. There's a good chance our ancestors had fewer yuck reflexes when it came to survival foods, and that cultural norms developed much later. Our modern food revolutions are reconnecting with these primal eating habits, sometimes gross, often fascinating, always necessary. Understanding what ancient humans ate to survive opens a window into not just our history, but our biology and culture. It's a story of resilience, adaptation, and the wild lengths life will go to endure and thrive. The story of ancient humans and their grossest meals is far more than a tale of survival. It's a window into the incredible resilience and adaptability that built our species. From scavenging maggot-filled meat to munching on insects and even dirt, our ancestors' willingness to eat the unimaginable forged the path for human evolution, culture, and survival. These desperate diets weren't just about filling empty stomachs. They sparked innovations in cooking, social bonding, and the very biology that defines us today. So next time you grimace at something you find gross to eat, remember the generations who faced far harsher choices, meals that were the difference between life and death. Their gutsiness made us who we are. What do you think? Could you survive eating the grossest meals in human history? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient survival, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more shocking and fascinating stories from our prehistoric past. And be sure to check out our other videos exploring the wild, weird, and wonderful ways humans have battled the ancient world. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.